All right, good afternoon, traders. Today is July 9th, 2025. My name is John Carignan. I am the lead instructor here at the BYOB Trading Room. Hey, I made 18K today on my 27K account that I started earlier this week. All right, let's go take a look at how I did that. All right, so let's drill down, see what's going on here. Okay, so let's move this over to the side and let's pull up the real P&L. Okay, so I got 14.5K right there trading. This is a 0 days till expiration 625 call. That means it expires today at 4:15. Okay, so you can see all I did was buy the dips and sell the peaks. See this 10-minute melt up right there? Well, that's what I traded all day, and I made 14K on that. Traded some 0 DTE 615 puts on the trip down. Pretty sure on the trip down. You can see right there on the trip down. Made some money on those. Again, buying the dips, selling the peaks on the 10-minute downtrend. So that was about 4K there. 700 on these 624 1 day till expiration call. Still got 9 of those left to carry over for tomorrow. Okay, again, see the melt up right there. All right, I'm buying the dip on the option, selling the peaks. Buying the dip, selling the peaks right there. Okay, so there's 700 there. 0 DTE, $40 on some 618 puts. Trying to buy the dip, sell the peak. Just exited those. Pretty sure those were a counter trend. Those were a spread where I bought low and sold high, or sold high and then purchased back low. All right, got some 1 day till expiration 618 puts. Lost $32 on those. And again, you can see the option here. Bought it, sold it for less than what I purchased it for. Hence, I come up with a loss. All right, not minus $93 here on some 625 calls. All right, still have a bunch of those left over. All right, so minus 93 on those. And you can see I'm way in the money for those 645. I could have easily canceled out that minus 92 that I incurred on the real P&L. All right, so you can see I'm up 621 right now. Again, those were calls, 2 days till expiration. Again, just buying the dips and selling the peaks. Okay, trading the melt up right here into the close. Lost $1,377 on some puts. I created a spread as the puts were coming up here, and then price rolled over on me. So I got really burned on those. So I lost $1,300, almost $1,400 on those. Okay, so that's what I traded for today. All right, just all SPY options. All right, so I lost $1,300, lost 100 there, lost 32 there, made 40 there, made 700 there, made 4,300 there, made 14.5K on those right there. Okay, so that's it. That's how I did it for today. Again, trading those uptrends and downtrends. All right, let's look at the 10-minute chart coming into the close. Really tight 10-minute uptrend going into the close. Definitely going to look for continuation on this tomorrow morning on that 10-minute uptrend. So I'll be looking for continuation of this 10-minute uptrend. Again, looking for a green candle to buy into tomorrow morning. All right, nothing. I don't want a topping wick candle. In other words, I don't want a spinning top. Okay, I don't want a doji. All right, and I don't want any green candle that's got way more wick than body and tail. Okay, so And I don't want a red candle because that's just going to show me bearish control. All right, so I'll be looking for a particular green candle, just nothing that has more wick than body and tail. Nothing that shows me either we're neutral, because that's a spinning top, or a doji. So I don't want any neutral, and I don't want anything bearish. All right, so I want whatever candle I pick to be bullish. All right, like a nice, see this where it has all tail, very little wick, very little body. Okay, that's bullish right there. For me, that's a nice candle to buy into. I like it when a nice big solid green body. That would be nice to buy into. All right, we'll see what happens tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock. Anyways, 10-minute uptrend coming into the close. Let's take a look at the 2-hour chart. And we got a 2-hour uptrend coming into the close. Okay, 2-hour uptrend. Let's take a look at the 2-hour. No, we don't want that. 2-hour. Yep, 2-hour uptrend, 2-hour right there. Okay, 2-hour uptrend coming into the close. 2-hour uptrend coming into the close. Daily chart. Okay, we'll look at that over here on the scratch. Again, back up near the all-time highs. Closing with a higher low and a higher high over the trap, bullish trap. Over the 17, that's bullish. Over the all-time high anchored VWAP, top of quadrant 4, that's bullish up there. Okay, so price action, bullish up there at the top of quadrant 4. All right, still in an uptrend. So it's holding that higher ground up there. That's SPY. Okay, so what do I like in SPY? I like a target for SPY, 630 for tomorrow. I think we go up probably another 1.5 ATRs. So we're at 620. We're at 624. So I would probably look for another 1.5 ATRs on that. So close to 630. All right. So that's what I'd be looking for. About 630, 629, 630. That's my target for tomorrow. Again, we got to take out the all-time highs. I'd like to see price pull back, J-hook off the all-time highs, and then rally up higher to 630. 630 is what I'm looking for. All right. Wow, look at that. 1K. All right, like that. All right, so daily chart. So what do I like? I like 10-minute uptrend over VWAP. I like it when that 10-minute uptrend over VWAP. Okay, so let's look at 10 minutes. Okay, so that's a 10-minute uptrend right there. The brown line is VWAP. That is a 10-minute uptrend over VWAP. Okay, I like it when that 10-minute uptrend is inside of a 2-hour uptrend. Notice the 3 EMA on top of the white 8 EMA. Okay, I like it when that 10-minute is inside the 2-hour. And I like it when that 2-hour is inside of this daily uptrend. Okay, notice the green dots, price, either in the price candles, either in the trap or above it, preferably above it. All right, and I like it when that daily uptrend is inside the weekly uptrend. Okay, see the weekly uptrend, candles, 3 on top of the 8, all over the 17, okay? And I like it when that weekly uptrend is inside of this monthly uptrend. Okay, so, and then I like it when all of that, everything I just mentioned, stacked one inside the other, okay? I like it when all that is up over this. This is the prior all-time high, so that would be the prior all-time high anchored VWAP, and I like it when it's above that prior all-time high anchored VWAP. All right, or the all-time high. I could probably push it over here. I'm going to give it about 10 days first, and then we'll push it over here. Okay, so that's my favorite setup. 10-minute uptrend over VWAP. All right, what is a 10-minute uptrend? All right, let's look. Okay, on the 10-minute chart. All right, it consists of the 3 EMA on top of the 8 EMA. Okay, the 3 EMA on top of the 8 EMA. Okay, and both of those with the candles are on top of the rising 17. Okay, over the brown line, and that's regular VWAP right there. Okay, that's what I like. That's a 10-minute uptrend for me. Okay, so that's what I like. So there's 10-minute uptrend over VWAP. We had one early this morning, nice rip rally. We made some money into that. Then they really pulled the rug out on us right here, and then we came back up to this area. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. Again, with this melt up here, I would be looking for more melting tomorrow. All right, so there's SPY on the 10-minute. That's bullish. That's in an uptrend. Let's take a look at QQQ. All right, QQQ on the daily chart. I don't know if they got a new all-time. Okay, QQQ, look at this. Makes a new all-time high. Okay, just it doesn't get any better than that, traders. Okay, new all-time high. It just doesn't get, and you can't say anything else about it. New all-time high. You know, there's no, the word bearish doesn't even come to mind. Okay, so new all-time high for QQQ. Got a new all-time high on Bitcoin. I think Fred shared that with us earlier. Okay, thank you, Fred. Not a new all-time high on FNGU, but definitely an attack. Got a higher low and a higher high. Closed over a bullish trap over the 17, over the all-time high anchored VWAP, which is the pink line, or the prior all-time high anchored VWAP. That's bullish up there at the top of quadrant 4, in an uptrend, making higher lows and higher highs. That's bullish. FNGU, QQQ bullish, SPY bullish. All right, Diamond Dow. All of the Fab 5 are in daily uptrends. Diamond Dow puts in, looks like, I'm going to call it an outside day. I'm not even going to look at it. All right, higher high, lower low, closing over a bullish trap. That's bullish. Over the 17, bullish. Over the all-time high anchored VWAP. Up here at the top of quadrant 4, that's bullish and in an uptrend. Higher low, higher high, that's an uptrend. That's bullish too, okay? Let's take a look at IWM. IWM puts in, I think that's a new rally high. We'll see. High here is 223.33. High here is 223.69. That's a higher high. So new rally high for IWM up here in the upper third. That makes it bullish. Okay, closing over a bullish trap. That's always bullish. Over the 17, rising 17. That's bullish. Okay, over the midpoint, over the all-time high anchored VWAP up here in the top of quadrant 3. Again, new rally high. All right, since April. That's beautiful. That's bullish and in an uptrend. Okay, let's take a look at technicals. I bet we were in the overbought zone and the buy zone. Let's take a look. All right, well, it looks like we made an appearance inside the buyer's chop zone. And then we wound up finishing the day inside the buy zone. So I think maybe more buy zone tomorrow and some overbought zone tomorrow. That's T21.22. Notice the higher low. We'll be looking for a higher high. Okay, let's take a look at T21.23. All right, bullish gap up. Look at this bullish gap up. Not filled by the bears. Big clue there again. All right, anytime you see bullish gap up, not filled by the bears, that shows you what? Strength on the bulls' part. All right, looks like the bulls took over from the beginning of the day to the end of the day with, looks like 3 breakfast burritos here in the morning for a break. And then they took off with the buying program and resumed it after those breakfast burritos. All right, T21.23 making higher highs. Okay, that's a new high for new rally high for T21.23. Look at them hold the higher ground up here. Okay, that's like I keep saying this over and over. So if you exercise or all right, it's like holding a plank for 6.5 hours. Okay, it takes an incredible amount of energy and strength to do that. That's showing you the strength. See the bullish gap up, not filled by the bears. That's your clue. The bulls have control, okay? Even after the 3 breakfast burritos. All right, so there's T2123 on the 15-minute chart. That's bullish. That's in an uptrend. It's over the all-time high, over the rising 200 SMA. 3-bar chart. Let's take a look at this. All right, so 3-bar chart, guess what? Daily is now in an uptrend, making a higher. See, there's a high. They made a higher high, so now on the daily chart, this is in an uptrend as well. All right, so all that's, the only thing in the way, the only thing in the way is the all-time high. So that is our new target for T2123 3-bar chart. Okay, that's all that's left. Take out that all-time high and make a higher high. Okay, we'll see if we can get that done. Hopefully we don't get any tariffs. That would kind of wreck everything. We'll see what happens. We were supposed to get tariffs today. Anybody get any news on that? All right, T2123, 3-bar, 3 more green candle bars. We're up over 2 prior all-time highs. We're up over flat 200 SMA. We are in an uptrend making higher lows here. So low, see the little red dots there. So there's a higher low. All right, so there's a high. And you can see we made a higher high. So that's an uptrend. Okay, so that's T2123 3-bar charts. Take a look at FNGU. All right, now this is like the magic carpet. Okay, whatever this does, it's pretty much what the market's going to do. These 10 securities in the FNGU, and there's only 10. Okay, not 11, not 20, not 100, just 10. All right, when they move as a pack, okay, they will drag those indexes up higher with them. Okay, you can see right here from the beginning of the day, buying from the beginning of the day to the end of the day, no break, no burrito, no margaritas, no Tom Collins, nothing. Just relentless buying from the beginning of the day to the end of the day. Up over this 200 SMA, rising 200 SMA. Okay, did they put in a new rally high? Not quite, okay, but they did challenge it. Look how close they got. See that right there? There's just a little bit of candle or trading bar up over here. So just a little bit, all right? Almost made it. Almost made it. I bet tomorrow morning they're in there. All right, so there's FNGU. That's bullish, okay? Holding that higher ground up there, making, again, lows, higher low, higher high, higher low, and they're off to make another higher high. Okay, so there's FNGU on 15-minute chart. Let's take a look at a few sectors. All right, let's take this off just a second. All right, let's take a look at, what do I want to look at? Let's take a look at XLE, because XLE had an awesome day yesterday. All right, and I guess they're taking a rest today. Okay, so here's XLE yesterday. All right, look at that big green candle. That's nice. So now they're having a rest today. So inside day, closing over a bullish trap, over the 17, over downtrend line 1, downtrend line 2, knocking on the door of the all-time high anchored VWAP. Okay, now you notice XLE moves up and then they give it up, and they move up, they give it up, and they move up, and look, they give it up, and then they even move down and they give it up, and they move down and they give it up, and here we move up, couldn't quite hold the higher ground, and we give it up. So we're back here, we returned, all right, back to the scene of the crime. See if we can change the hearts and minds of the XLE owners, okay? So back here, knocking on the door of the all-time high anchor VWAP. So we're neutral. Okay, you go up, you give it up. You go down, you give it up. That's neutral. All right, so we're not in the upper third. We're not in the lower third. We're just here in the middle. We're still in an uptrend, okay? And it's taking us a while, all right? So it's not ready yet, all right? Pretty soon it'll be bullish up there. All right, there it's XLE. Let's take a look at USO. USO. All right, USO is in an uptrend because it's making higher highs and higher lows. Nice candle today. Going to call it an inside day. I don't know if it is, but it looks close enough. Closing over a trap over the 17, over this 3-year high anchored VWAP right there. That's a 3-year high anchored VWAP. Up here in the upper third, that's bullish. Let's see if they can finally hold the higher ground. Notice they go up and they give it up. All right. And they're coming back, all right, for a second tasting up here, all right? So there's USO. That's bullish because it's in the upper third, all right? And they're over the all-time high anchored VWAP, or that 3-year high anchored VWAP. Okay, so bullish and in an uptrend. UNG is bearish and in a downtrend. And you can see we've got a head and shoulders pattern on UNG. Got a triple top head, triple crown. See it? You got the head up here. This peak, this peak, this peak. All this makes up the head. Right shoulder is this double top right here. Left shoulder is this double top right here, and they are off to probably challenge the all-time lows over here. All right, so they're down in quadrant 1. That's bearish. And you can see they're making, see there's a high, they're making lower highs. You can see there's a low, they're making lower lows. So they're in a downtrend and in a head and shoulders pattern, okay? And under this measly 18-month high anchored VWAP, down here in quadrant 1, you can see where the all-time high is, way up there, okay? So this is not a high bar to get over, this 18-month. But they're struggling with it. All right, so they're in a downtrend, head and shoulders. They're bearish. They're down in quadrant 1. There you go for UNG. All right, let's take a look at GLD. Now, GLD is in a downtrend, okay, but they have not been moving down. Now, they got themselves in a downtrend by making a lower low. So here's a low. They made a lower low. All right, so they're in a downtrend. In order to negate the downtrend, keep in mind it's just a label, all right? They have to take out the high, all right? They got to make a higher high, all right? So they could take out this high right here, all right? And that would negate the downtrend, all right? But it's just a label. The good news is they're in a downtrend. They're not moving down. They're moving over to the right. Price action today is an inside day, and they closed under a bearish trap and under the 17 and under the all-time high anchored VWAP. But all in all, you can see price has moved up and is holding a well, kind of an unorthodox plank up here. Okay, so they've actually got an inverse head and shoulders, with this being the head. That would be left shoulder. This would be right shoulder. All right, but they got to break the neckline to activate that inverse head and shoulders. So there's gold. They're technically in a downtrend, but not moving down. All right, and they're bullish because they're up in quadrant 4. All right, and they're holding the higher ground, and they're technically in a downtrend, but not moving down. That's it right there. But they are bullish up there. All right, let's take a look at SLV. All right, SLV, again, up in quadrant 4. That's bullish, holding the higher ground. That's bullish up in an uptrend, making higher lows and higher highs. That's an uptrend. So silver bullish up there. Over this is a 12-year high anchored VWAP up there, holding that higher ground up in quadrant 4 and in an uptrend. All right, let's take a look at SMH. All right, SMH, new all-time high. Can't say anything else about it. It's new all-time high. Just doesn't get any better than that, okay? XLK. New all-time high. Doesn't get any better than that, okay? We are in the middle of what could be a really robust rally, okay, to new all-time highs. My first target is 655, and that's really being super conservative. And if we have if we have an AI bubble coupled with this rally, and I think we might, all right, we could see highs up in the 700s, I know that doesn't seem believable, right? It's up in the 700s, up to 730, okay? I'm just saying that that's on the table, all right? So here's XLK, new all-time high for XLK, okay? That's what that AI will do, all right? That's XLK. Let's take a look at XLF. Okay, XLF up here in top of quadrant 4, that's bullish. Okay, see that up there, making higher highs and higher lows. Still bullish on XLF. I think they report next week. Some of the financials. Okay, let's take a look at IYT. It's the last one, and we'll take a look at Robert Stocks. And IYT is, let me scoot in here. Is that a new rally high? I think it is. High is 71.44. High 71.27. New rally high for the transports. Notice transports are up in quadrant 4. That's bullish. Transports are over the all-time high anchored VWAP. Anytime price is moving up and you're over the all-time high anchored VWAP, that's bullish. Okay, so this is looking fantastic. All right, so you've got semiconductors and technology in an uptrend. You've got financials in an uptrend, okay? And they better be in an uptrend. I mean, my gosh, they're the ones that facilitate all of the trading that is needed to make the market to make these new all-time highs, all right? So, I mean, they better be making some new highs or at least be in an uptrend. All right, so the financials are bullish and in an uptrend. You got technology and semiconductors bullish and in an uptrend. All right, and then we also got the transports bullish and in an uptrend. And then on top of all of that, guess what we got? We got a falling dollar. All right, it's at a 3-year low. Last time we were down here is 2022, not 19, but 2022, 3 years ago, okay? Now, when we got a cheap dollar, that means our goods and services are more affordable than they were yesterday, okay? When you got a rich dollar, that people have to convert their currency to our currency, all right, in order to pay us, all right? Because we have to pay taxes on whatever we buy and sell, whatever we sell, all right? So, with that, it makes the goods and services that our companies sell overseas or in the markets out there, the global markets, all right, more affordable and more competitive, all right? So we are in the middle of a really robust rally. And I got to tell you, it's a lot of stuff in the pipeline. We got the big, beautiful bill, all right? Supposedly that's supposed to be injecting a whole lot of money into the economy, hopefully. If we could get some free trade deals, we don't tariff them, they don't tariff us. That would be a beautiful thing, and a lot of these conflicts to end. That would be nice. So there's a lot of stuff on the table out there that could accelerate or be the catalyst to get us up to 650, 700. And not to mention the AI bubble, all right? All right, because everybody's all those AI chips, I don't know if you looked at the cost to run them, but they are expensive to run just for one inquiry. So they'll all be upgrading their chips to the new, more efficient ones because they run on electricity and nothing else. So chances are there's going to be a big AI boom soon. All right, if not, it's probably going on right now. All right, so that's IYT in an uptrend bullish. All right, let's take a look at Robert Stocks. Bob, I've got a few people before you, Robert. Let's see. It was pushed. Fred says, okay, tariffs were pushed out to August 1st. That's good. I wish they just get it done and stop, rolling their thumbs over each other. Just get it over with. All right. Robert says he's got IBIT calls. He's got SGHC stock and NAK stock. All right. Let's take a look at some of that for Robert. All right. IBIT. Well, if it's Bitcoin, and Bitcoin's making a new all-time high. Yeah, you got just like gold, you got an inverse head and shoulders set up here. All right, break the neckline and you're off to new highs. And that's probably, yeah, that's it. That is the all-time high up there. So that's looking fantastic, Robert. Just look for that breakout. You're right into resistance. Obviously, you can see they get shot down here, they get shot down there, they get shot down here, and they get a little shot down there. But obviously, you see the inverse head and shoulders. That's the head. It's the left. That's the right shoulder. This is the left shoulder right there. Okay, break the resistance or the neckline right there, and you're off to new highs. I'll bet that's a new high today. High is 63.76. That's looking fantastic. High is 63.70, 63.76. Yeah, new all-time high right there for IBIT. Okay, nice one. Nice one. I like that one. SGHC. Well, that looks like a new all-time high. If I've ever seen one. Yeah, that is. Beautiful. All right. I don't have any targets. All right. There's no resistance because there's no price action to the left. Beautiful chart. You see exhaustion. All right. That might be a red flag. Watch for the exhaustion. Got a 3-day breakout here. Nice one. SGHC. That's awesome right there. Look at that. New all-time high for that one. NAK. Well, look at that candle. That really looks like exhaustion. And you're right up into prior bears right up here. Okay. That thing is really shooting off. Maybe they give you another green candle bigger than that. That's looking fantastic. Obviously, you're going to have resistance when you get up here to 243, okay, because that's where sellers were located before. Let's look at this on a monthly or a weekly. Yeah, you're far off of that. But you can see right here, you're going to have resistance at, well, you can see 260, and then some more at 335 up there, and you definitely got some resistance right here at 581. That'd be cool if you can make 581. All right, that's looking fantastic. Okay, that's a long time in the making on that one. Look at that. That's 5 years between that high and where he's at today. All right, looking at AT. That one. That's a new all-time high right there, I think. Yeah, that's beautiful. There's nothing over the left to stop you. Just stay with the trend. That's all I can say. Stay with all those ones with the new all-time high. For me, when that happens, I try to just stay with the trend. All right, you got the trends going. The trend will tell you when to get out. All right. This is looking fantastic. Love that one. Nothing over the left for resistance. It's beautiful. SRAD. SRAD is another one at the new all-time high. And no wonder the market's making new all-time highs. Look at these stocks making new all-time highs. Again, you got a trend. Stay, as long as the trend performs, stay with it. Right there on that daily chart, SRAD. Looking beautiful. I like the 2-hour trend. Okay? If you're wondering, I like the 2-hour trend. Because there's nothing to say like, oh, this is the target. I mean, usually it's 20, 50, 80, and then 100. All right? So you're way past 20. So your next target up is 50. That's a long ways off for a $30 stock at its highs. I like the 2-hour trend. All right? Keep an eye on that. All right, there's SRAD. That's looking fantastic. Beats. Beats is at a new all-time high as well. Beats has got some resistance. Okay, the target. You know where the target is, Robert. Remember the valley between the two peaks right there. 2640. That's the target right there. And you got a little resistance coming up at 2528. I'll bet they target this valley between the two peaks right there. 2646. That's looking fantastic to challenge that. Everything's looking good. What do we got? We got some support right here. You're on top of support. Look at that right there. You're on top of support. You kind of J-hooked off of it. This is looking fantastic. 2-hour trend, still working. Right there. Daily trend, still working. Right there. Okay, Beats is looking fantastic. Oust. I think that's on my list. Oust. All right. Oust is J-hooking, making a higher low. I would look for that to make a higher high. Let's look over to the left. And you got resistance right here. Okay, see that? See the shelf of right there? You've got resistance. So you've got right there. Okay, so you're getting close to it. I like the higher low. Chances are you're going to come up here and spike this sometime, this week or next week. That's looking fantastic up there. Oust is looking great. Definitely not new all-time highs, but look at it, hasn't been up here in 3 years. All right, so that's really great. Breaking up over this base, all of this consolidation. 3 years of consolidation here. 3 years. All right, look at the J hook right off the support. Right there. This is looking good to come up here and challenge that high. Let's see what the next one is. Meta. You got Meta. Facebook. Facebook is that's a new all-time high, right? Isn't it? Nope, not quite. All right. They just made a new all-time high. You see that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days ago. This is still bullish. They're not giving up after being here. So look for them to set up a grinder box. All right, and eat away at some of that overhead supply. So that's looking bullish. All right. Obviously, you got resistance up there because you faded. Look at the fade from there, and you faded again. But look, you're already hooking around. Notice no hook manifested here, but here it did. Nothing but red 17 balls there. Over here, you kept the trend going. So that's looking fantastic right there. It's been a while. It may take a couple weeks of consolidating over prior consolidation before they chew through this up here. Okay, NAC is expected to settle with EPA on or before, would allow NAC to get permit for huge Alaska copper mine. Thank you for sharing that. Looking at, yep, I got all those. All right, that's it, Robert. I hope I answered all your questions. See you guys I'll see you guys 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. We'll do it again, all right? So, everybody have a wonderful evening. Thanks for hanging out with me. Yeah, thank you. Thanks, Jordo, Fred, everybody. You guys are wonderful. Thank you for being here. 10 minute. Look for that 10 minute to continue tomorrow. that 10-minute uptrend. Look for that continuation of that 10-minute melt up. All right, nothing but more melting I see for tomorrow. All right, thanks, Gene. All right, everybody, 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. See you then. Have a great night.